again, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that first story massage about space. So our next story massage is about Pepper in space. So let's see what Pepper gets up to with all her friends. So before we start our story massage, remember what we have to do. We have to get permission. So Mr. Ted is going to help us again. So say hello, Mr. Ted. So Mr. Ted, would you like a story massage? I think he's very happy with that. So let's turn him round and let's start our story of Pepper in space. It was Space Day at Playgroup, and Pepper and her friends were very excited. Does anybody know what space is? Asked Madame Gazelle. Space is the physical universe beyond the Earth's atmosphere, said Edmund Elephant, who was a bit of a clever clogs. That's right, Edmund, said Madame Gazelle, and today we're going to talk about something that you might find in space. The moon? Shouted all the children. Yes, said Madame Gazelle. Can I live on the moon? Asked Danny Dog. It is possible, replied Madame Gazelle, but you would need to take oxygen and water and lots of other things with you. Can you jump in muddy puddles on the moon? Asked Pepper. No, said Madame Gazelle. There is no rain to make puddles. So what can you do on the moon? Said Pepper. Oh, you'll soon find out, said Madame Gazelle, because today we are going to the moon, shouted Pedro Pony. Well, not exactly, said Madame Gazelle. We're going to go to the Space Museum. Oh, sighed the children, a little disappointed. But at the museum, you will train to be astronauts, said Madame Gazelle, and you can see and feel what it's like to walk on the moon. Wow, gasped all the children. So Mrs. Rabbit arrived to take everyone to the Space Museum. Really? We should be going there in a moon buggy, said Danny. Not on a bus. How long will it take to get there? Asked Pepper. As long as it takes you to finish your apple, replied Miss Rabbit. I finished my apple, said Susie Sheep. Does that mean we're there? How about we sing a song for Miss Rabbit, suggested Madame Gazelle. Something like... But before Madame Gazelle could finish, all the children started to sing. Going to the moon, moon, moon. How about you, you, you? You can come too, too, too. We're going to the moon, moon, moon. And they sang the song to Miss Rabbit all the way to the museum. And when they arrived at the museum, the children were met by a real astronaut called Grampy Rabbit. Hello there, fellow astronauts, he boomed. Our space training mission today will take us to the moon. The ride may be a bit bumpy, but it'll be worth it when you see what it's like to walk on the moon. Hooray! Cheered the children. children put on their special spacesuits and space boots as quickly as they could. It's time to hop on board our spacecraft, called Grampy Rabbit when they were ready. I'll just show you the spacecraft. Look at that. Whoa, look at that rocket they're in. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off! Cheered all the astronauts together. And Grampy Rabbit and the children zoomed off on their training mission. On the way to the moon, Grampy Rabbit told the children all about the different planets in the solar system. So if you remember from our last massage, there's Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and that little dwarf planet called Pluto, he said. And robots have landed on Mars, but no one else has yet. And George was listening very carefully. Mars, he whispered to himself. Bump, bump. We have landed on the moon, said Grampy Rabbit. Now, my little astronauts, it's time for you to see what it's like to walk on the moon. Just take one small step out of the spacecraft and one. But Pepper and all her friends took giant leaps out of the spacecraft wearing Grampy Rabbit's anti-gravity rubber bands. Whee! They all shouted. The children had so much fun bouncing up and down with the anti-gravity rubber bands. They sang a song over and over again. Listen to our space tune, tune, tune. We're walking on the moon, moon, moon. Boing, boing. And you can see they're all walking on the moon. Wow, gasped Pepper, bouncing over Madame Gazelle's head while she was walking on the moon. Walking on the moon is great fun, but jumping up and down on it is even better. Okay, it's time to get back to Earth now, children, called Grampy Rabbit. Oh, no, sighed the children. When they arrived back on Earth, the children were sad. But remember, children, your adventure isn't really over, said Grampy Rabbit. It's just beginning. If you keep training, you can all be real astronauts one day. Yay! We're going to the moon, 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 sang the children. And they sang it on the bus all the way back to playgroup. Space is amazing, Daddy, said Pepper that night. I want to be an astronaut so I can jump up and down on the moon every day. But George had set his sights on somewhere else. Mars, he whispered. Ah, said Daddy Pig. Are you going to be the first piggy on Mars, George? And George nodded his head and smiled. That night, George dreamt he'd gone into space with Pepper, and they were the first little piggies ever to jump up and down on Mars. Boing, boing, there they were dreaming of being the first pigs on Mars. So, thank you, Mr. Ted, for letting me do that story massage, and I hope you enjoyed that story, and you can have a go with mummies or daddies at home, and we'll see you again soon. Take care.